Hello, I'm Stephanie Herzog with the League of Women Voters of Portland, and you're watching the Video Voters Guide. It's designed to help you get to know the candidates that are running for the May primary in Oregon. And today we have Randy Shannon, who's running for Oregon State Representative for District 51. Welcome, Randy.
Thank you.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about your background and what made you decide to run for this office.
Well, my background is I'm an engineer by training. Spent the last 28 years working for local government, both county and city, building public infrastructure. Just about every kind there is, from sewers, roads, water, parks, buildings, everything. During that time, I got involved with the city of Damascus and ended up spending 10 years on council in the middle of that. So I've got a little bit of background to the issues in Damascus and some of the conflicts between Damascus and Happy Valley and the transportation issues in that area. The reason I'm running is I got a call from a Republican who I'd worked with on various committees, and who told me while we disagreed, he always understood why, and told me that the incumbent was not running and I should go down and file. And by the way, today's the deadline. So this was not even on my radar about 3 weeks ago until I got that call. And so I'm running because I believe I can bring something to the process that I see as many times missing. Both a knowledge of science and technology and what it takes to actually do something, and then on top of that, the economics behind stuff. Politics likes to ignore the dismal science economics, but no matter what we do when we make a decision, there's limitations both in labor and the materials we have to do it with. And so I'm hoping to bring to that process some information or some guidance on how it's done. My areas of focus are education and infrastructure. We need a transportation bill. We've not been maintaining our roads and other infrastructure within our state. And this has been going on for almost 20 years now. And if you drive around and look, you can see the condition of the roads. When I started doing roads 20 years ago, the agency I worked for was spending about $1.5 million a year. 10 years later, they were spending $200,000 to $300,000 a year doing maintenance. And that has continued, and it's now catching up to us.
Okay. Tell me real briefly about the neighborhood that your district covers and things that are important to the constituents.
Yeah. My district consists of the north half of Damascus, the east half of Happy Valley, and a corner of Portland just north of the Multnomah County, Clackamas County line.
Okay. Okay. Should the legislature give additional tools to the Oregon Department of Environmental Quality to improve its ability to protect our air quality? And then please explain a little more.
Okay. I'm anticipating this is in response to, or this question is generated by the hot spots of heavy metal contamination that have been found in Portland. The problem from my reading has not been in the legislative authority that's been given to DEQ, but what they have and have not done with it. As I understand it, they wrote rules that exempted these glass places because of their size. Unfortunately, with heavy metal contamination, size doesn't matter. Small amounts of exposure are just universally bad. Regulation in general, there's always this tension because every time you regulate, you induce a cost, and you'll have the opponents arguing that you shouldn't do that. You have ideologues that are against any regulation at all. They figure, oh, we work it out in courts afterwards. Unfortunately, the reality is there's a lot of times money can't fix it once it happens. So for this, I think it's an opportunity that the legislature should be doing some oversight, which is also always the redheaded stepchild, because oversight's difficult. It takes time, and it takes putting aside your preconceived notions to look at what's actually going on. Is what we've passed as legislation actually being implemented in a way that's actually effective it's doing what we want, and efficient. Is it doing what we want in a cost-effective manner? And so I believe that's where it needs to go, is back into oversight. And it may come out of that some additional piece of authority needs to be given to DEQ or some additional direction. But until we've done that, we don't know.
Okay, okay. What is your vision for an ideal Oregon tax structure?
I believe in a progressive tax structure. Oregon right now has one of the closest statewide tax systems to progressive. The lower 20% still are paying about 1% higher tax than the top 20%. But we're like third in the nation as far as being closest to progressive. I'd like to see reversing that. The lower 20% are paying about 8.2%, and this was off of 2013 data. The top 20%, I believe the number was 7.2. So, you know, that's a little backwards to me. The second part that I think we need to focus on, and there's some initiative measures going on, is getting everybody to pay their fair share. Right now, large corporations have gotten rules, gotten accountants and everything else, so they're paying now a much smaller share of their taxes than they were 20 to 30 years ago. And we're all feeling it. We're feeling it in our schools, we're feeling it in our transportation maintenance, or, you know, all of these things that go together. Small business isn't feeling that benefit because many times the rules are written for the big boys. And that's where we need to make sure everybody pays their fair share. These big companies are benefiting from the same things everybody else is. So.
Okay. In our short time left, what particular issues would you like to discuss?
Infrastructure, education, and doing it all while we protect the environment. Those are my three big issues. All of those, I believe, are key to being able to have long-term prosperity for this state. You miss any one of those, you're not going to be able to survive or economically as we do. Right now, I think Oregon was rated like the top third economy in the nation. We're doing something right. We need to continue it.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your time. I'm Stephanie Herzog with the League of Women Voters, and this was Randy Shannon. We want to remind you that voter registration deadline is April 26th if you have not already registered, and the May primary is on May 17th. Thank you very much.